Hello everyone, good evening, welcome back. I am back. Yesterday was Canada Day, didn't stream, went to see some fireworks. I tried streaming it, but my drone wasn't working. It works, I got video and everything. Might upload it, might not. Depends on my mood. And yeah, I tried streaming it. I tried connecting it to the streaming platform. I was putting in my stream key and everything. And for some reason, it just didn't work. One reason was it's like, oh, you need to connect a microphone. I just want to make sure my microphone is actually working. I'm pretty sure it is. I see the volume thing moving, so it must be working. Um, yeah, so it was asking me to connect a microphone to a drone, which was like, seriously. But I mean, it worked before. I was able to stream in other occasions without a microphone, so I don't know what the deal was. Maybe something to do with the SD card. I don't know. I gotta tinker around with it a little bit more. So that's one thing I have to worry about. The next issue, well, there was no really issues. Like, I just couldn't stream it yesterday, that was all. And I also couldn't stream this as well because I was busy looking at fireworks. That's all I really have to point out about it. Anyways, we do have Bitcoin rising today. Huge recovery and liquidation event right over here. Shorts got liquidated. We got a nice short squeeze, which I mentioned would take us directly out of, breaking this downtrend, which, by the way, that is the last downtrend that we have to conquer. We're currently fighting for it, right? We did break out of it, we closed above it, and we just closed below it once again in the 4-hour chart. I think what would really matter is in the daily chart whether or not we do close on that, which it just currently shows we just have one big rejection from this zone, if that's what you want to look at it as. But ideally, I mean, realistically, we had that short squeeze happen, which took us directly from 108,000 to almost 110,000, and that's why I kept this previous level here. Hey, my drawings came back, right? Am I crazy? I'm not crazy. These are my previous drawings. Were they actually my previous drawings? I don't even remember. Probably not. Who cares? Because I remember one time all my drawings got deleted and I redrew everything on my previous stream, just so you guys could see once again. But yeah, you get the point. This happened, liquidations, and we've kind of, I guess, some profit taking from this level. A lot of people who got a little spooked out by this drop over here where we went down to 98,000 kind of were like, okay, you know what, Bitcoin is near its all-time highs once again. We're just going to take profit. I think that is a mistake. I also think it was also a mistake for me to have sold right over here. It's very dumb of me. Yeah, I did not buy Bitcoin back ever since. Do I regret my decision? Yeah, really, I do. I do regret my decision. Because that was all the Bitcoins I had. Everything I had in spot, it's all gone. It's currently either already in alts or margin separated to put into alts if they do decide to drop some time. But, I mean, wake me up once alt season really starts. Or that would be when Bitcoin breaks its next resistance level, which you're looking at the all-time high practically. We could see a bit of a slowdown at this first resistance from pivot levels, 111,409. Could see a bit of a slowdown there. But other than that, it's looking really solid so far. I mean, we already cracked open this downtrend thing over here. I think it's going to be easy. Maybe we will, drop a little bit to kind of accumulate a bit more strength to push up to the next level, depending on how much we can accumulate to push up once again. We'll either be met with 11,400 or just directly 112,000, and depending on how strong whatever fundamentals we get, it's going to break us out much higher. What fundamentals could drive this? Tomorrow, Thursday, we're getting non-farm payroll data, which could help give us a boost if the data comes out in favor of, tariffs are not actually a bad thing for the United States as people would have maybe expected in the past. And also there's all these talks about this Jerome Powell fella, whether or not we're going to kick him out of office. Well, we can't really, Trump really has no power over Jerome Powell. So he can't kick him out of his position at the head of as head chairman of the Fed. That's why he's calling for it's basically what's trending right now, this hashtag and the Fed, because people are starting to realize, this guy, he actually is costing us a lot of money. We show the comparisons between the United States and all these other countries, and you can clearly see that, something's clearly wrong, and it has something to do with Jerome Powell likely not liking Trump, and just doing this to kind of hurt the economy under Trump. And Trump is, catching wind of that and saying, you know what, you're just this, what do you call it? An obstacle in the path, right? So we got to get you out. If we can't fire you, then we're just going to have to force you to resign, which is a way to kind of some of that magic that he gave to Canadians earlier this year. All of that pressure on particularly Justin Trudeau, our old prime minister, he actually got him to, got him to force to resign. And that happened January 1st, took effect probably March, I think. April, we held our next election. Mark Carney was taking his place in the meantime. And then, polls swung in his favor. Mark Carney won the election, which Trump liked because he knows he can handle those liberals pretty easily and manipulate them to his liking. That's at least what it seems like, and something that I've called for a while back, and you're seeing it in effect right now. Talk about those Trump attempting to cancel those trade deals with Canadians over that digital tax, which I didn't even know existed. But yeah, there you go. Hi, welcome, Moldy. You're out of the loop. You have no idea what's going on in America right now. You have a great president. Trump stopped wars. Gaza, there's an update on that. There's also updates on... There's no real updates on Iran. It's just Iran-Israel war ended. He's stopping wars out there. He's making trade deals. Trade deal with Vietnam's happening. Might get one with Japan. Might not. Depends. Companies are going to start coming into the United States, investing lots of money in the United States. A lot of jobs will be created for you guys. Lowest border crossings also came out. One big beautiful bill. You're going to save a lot on taxes. I think you guys are going to be great as long as you don't live in Connecticut, because they just, TLDR canceled their request for a Bitcoin strategic reserve. They're not going to have one. That's just a little sneak peek at an update. Yeah, other than that, that's all you got to know about America. That's all I think I know about it. Anyways, yeah, so it's looking really positive for you guys. For here in Canada, it's not looking that great. But that's a different topic for a different day. You should have bought Bitcoin, by the way, when I told you to, or around over here. I don't know. I always tell you to buy Bitcoin, don't I? I'll help you with opening an account, and we'll get you started at all-time high levels. This week, I did make money after losing the $2,000 I didn't trade for June 23rd. How long ago was that? Maybe over a week. I didn't trade there, but then I just made a trade today on Pepe, of all things. A meme coin. Pepe the Frog. It went up in value today. Took an easy profit of $54. That's all I made today, $54. This week specifically, no. This week I've bought some stuff, but I haven't really sold much. On this dip over here, I made some purchases on Cardano. I wanted to do on Solana, but I couldn't. Solana's too strong. I entered into Sui, and I also bought Chainlink. Chainlink, also a good project. Those are the only plays I made this week, if you want a quick update on that. But other than that, I'm still waiting, still being a little patient. Hey, if alt season happens, all my stuff will go up, which is already fine. I'm very well loaded up into altcoins, which is every other coin that's not Bitcoin. And what else do I got? Yeah, I already told you, right? I sold all my Bitcoins, whatever. And I do have more cash on the side. In case we do have a drop, you should always have cash on the side, because you're going to be wrong 50% of the time. And yeah, that's true as well. No, better than no money at all. So, cool. That's all I got. Overall, great day for Bitcoin, nonetheless. We broke through an important barrier, broke through an important downtrend, right? We, which just further confirms this uptrend is now going to be a thing. And we have a low point. That's also significant. So we can basically draw a sharper uptrend as to where we are currently headed upwards. And slow motion is better than no motion. Yeah. Yeah, that is true. Oh, you know what? I'll tell you my secret live because nobody watches my channel anyway. So what happened is, let me leak this because I'm too lazy to type it. So we got a partnership, right, with Axelbolt for the United North tournament that's being hosted. I don't even know if you're on a team. Like, go register. You could win $1,000. Anyways, so I agreed to cast. If I would be able to cast. What do you mean no? I'm going to tell you anyway. So, cast tournament matches. I think it'll be fun. And, yeah, but this won't matter. This won't matter in like a week or two, or maybe a month. It won't matter. Nobody really watched this anyway. So, this could actually become a job because now that we got an actual, recognition and official listing from Axelbolt for this tournament, some people are actually going to watch and see how my casting is, and maybe they'll actually hire me to cast actual matches in English because that's what they are low-key looking for. And I'm excited. What if I actually get that? That would be pretty cool. Yeah, and then maybe I'll actually get famous. A famous caster. I don't even know. What would everybody think about this though? That's what's really going through my mind. All right. Well, there we go. That's the big news, the big leak. That's why I've been smiling a bit today. Wow, Ethereum, one of the top gainers, by the way. 7% up today, 2,574, which is that resistance that I told you guys we would have met first. Unfortunately, we did slow down here. I was hoping we would at least break this, but, that would require Ethereum going up significantly. Can you stop? Where's my shift key? Going up a higher amount, like maybe 13%, liquidating all these shorts over here. Maybe they already panic sold by the time it got over here. You know what's good nonetheless? Super trend flip bullish. And we also have another low point confirmed right there from, was this yesterday? Yeah, July 1st. There is a reason for why we dropped yesterday too, which I'll also explain. Yeah, if I do work for them, by the way, you're getting all the gold because you're my top supporter. There you go. Unless, I don't know, what do I even do? I'll probably just keep investing whatever I gain. I mean, that would be such a cool job. Just, cast a match, get paid, and then just dump it into crypto. That would be funny. What is this? I'm getting a lot of promotional emails. Bro, what does Marky want? Marky is in my DMs. And yeah. All right, cool. Nice. So yeah, Ethereum top leader over here. Unfortunate resistance. So we're going to need a bit more strength, but you already know the next move upward for Ethereum will be also a similar big one to what we're seeing today. Likely breaking out of this downtrend, hoping for that, and meeting with this resistance 2,750, you could call that approximately. And important as well, you're not allowed to forget this. This is the downtrend, the last downtrend, the final boss. Before we are officially up, there is no more downtrends on Ethereum from here. I go to a weekly chart so you know what I'm talking about. I mean, okay. Okay, so Ethereum 5,000 was a thing at some point. I guess I was blind. You technically have that one, but that gives you enough space to run from, current price to wherever this is, right? A good 56% left in Ethereum before you should be concerned for real. But from here, it's looking really good. This is a weekly chart, so you're looking at data from 2020 compared to now. That's how flat Ethereum has been. How unfortunate. This drop really hurt, by the way. A 66% drop. No amount of leverage would have saved you from that kind of drop. I always say that. All right, cool. So that's looking good for Ethereum. Solana's at 152. Ethereum, not Ethereum. I'm so used to saying that. Solana ETFs are now a thing. They're live. Today is Wednesday. They happened with staking, by the way. They're real. Downtrend practically getting broken over here. Looking at a resistance at 160 is what a lot of analysts are also pointing out. So you still got a 4% pump in Solana left. Decent start, I would say. I wouldn't call it a shaky start to, ETF first day approval. It should definitely start bringing in some more volume into Solana, hopefully more than what Ethereum has. First of all, Ethereum's price isn't moving too much, one, because it has a unlimited max supply. Same deal with Solana, though. But the second thing is that Solana has a much lower market cap than what Ethereum has, and probably some better benefits than what Ethereum has to offer. Hopefully that should attract some institutional interest rather than, Ethereum just being this punching bag where everybody just sells off, like Grayscale does. We'll talk more about Grayscale later, but yeah, so that's what we got going on for Solana. It's still positive news nonetheless, and you also got your new little uptrend going on right over here. That should guide the path. Moving on to XRP. I'll also just draw another uptrend for it. This is looking really good, by the way. Also a move upward of 3.48%. Current price is $2.24. Super trend has also flipped bullish. Invalidates at 210. We got a resistance at 230 once again. 230, tough resistance to break. We do poke out of it occasionally, but we usually struggle to do so. This already got a lot of shorts liquidated, so, that's why we don't got a lot of juice going on over here. I gotta stop saying juice. Enough fuel going on here. But hey, at least the downtrend here is broken. Do we have another downtrend? We probably do. Probably this one. Oh, we have a lot, actually. Let me go to a daily chart to try to pinpoint as best as I can this. Also, let me just fix something. Okay. I'm back. Downtrend. What is this looking like? Okay, that actually looks valid. Go back to a 4-hour chart here. So, hey, maybe this is the last time we would have to worry about 230. If we are able to break out of that and move once again above that, it would be good. 233 plus would be optimistic for XRP. That's a bullish outlook. We also see the same deal going on with Ethereum, right? And Solana as well, right? This is the last downtrend. It is indeed the last downtrend. That's why I haven't really deleted it. Oh, why is this here? There you go. Yeah, that was like the last downtrend we had to really worry about. So you're noticing this pattern, right? A lot of altcoins breaking their downtrend. It's an alt season is just going to happen very soon. I think we've fully bottomed out with this fear of World War III. Obviously, it's very likely not going to happen again. Ceasefire is in place. There are some news that Iran has decided to stop cooperating with the IAEA. But then people are also pointing out, oh, so does Israel. So, like, what's the point? Does it even matter anymore? Stuff like that, but it's nothing major. It's not like they're rubbing their hands planning something dangerous. So, yeah, that's what we got. Top mover today, Sui. 8.69%, $2.90. Reached a high of $2.96 today. Were you scared at $2.64? That was a perfect price to purchase. Uptrend now invalidates at 257, 258. We got an uptrend going on right over there. This downtrend has officially been broken, hence why super trend has flipped bullish from here. We got a resistance, of course, at the $3 psychological number, and 304, 311, 328, 354. 366 is likely where we will meet this final boss downtrend. I like calling it final boss downtrends. And then, you know, $4 psychological barrier as well. A high over here at 429. We should get new pivot levels by then as well. Of course, it's going to take a while to get up there. And then 459 and then all-time high 537.51. So very good stuff so far. All right. And now, let me just get my OBS up here. Okay. Next coin is Litecoin, up 4% today. Not happy with Litecoin here. It has gone up. It's 4 or 5% today. It's at 87, but it's at this level, right? We didn't break this downtrend, which I did point out. I drew like 3 downtrends, right? I pointed out this second one would be the more important one, and unfortunately, that's exactly where we met up. I did also point out that this super trend would eventually coincide right over here, and I was right. I should have drawn like the little circle thing. We actually got rejection at that zone, which it's unfortunate, but it's natural. Like, that was to be expected. That's where technical analysis comes in, right? You're supposed to kind of pinpoint and predict these kinds of levels. But I still think, will this downtrend eventually be broken? Absolutely. Litecoin is one of the only few that still have a couple downtrends to break. So, you know, that could still happen. Should take a while, though. We do also have very long-term downtrends to break. When was this? February 2025. Oh, that was the 140 zones. Okay. This is our actual all-time high, by the way. Fixed supply on Litecoin, by the way. So those levels up there are likely to happen again, whether you like it or not. I'm pretty sure a downtrend from here should be broken by now, right? Yeah. What do we got in the daily chart? Let me just redraw this. Right there. Yeah, that's kind of broken already. So yeah, we're just currently fighting this downtrend. We got another one over here, which it's very minor, the differences between the two. Like, I think both can be broken very easily. So we don't gotta worry about that too much. Next coin is our last one, Cardano. Also top gainer today, and it managed to flip its super trend bullish over here once again. I always mention this here as well. 51. Super important support level that it once again bounced off of, even on the worst days, right? Very tough to break that for Cardano. I love that price action, and we're currently on our way to breaking the current downtrend right over here. Super trend's already flipped bullish, so like that should already give you a signal that this is going to easily be broken and should take us to our next resistance at 63 cents, coming soon to an exchange near you, I guess. Realistically, like compared to the rest of the other coins, it's a very steep uptrend, but it is there. I guess it's the better defined one compared to this long one that I have over here that I don't know if I really trust, because I mean, you technically drew this one like over here, and over here at these minimums. Who knows how many times we'll see 51, but I don't think we will for the time being. Things all have a positive outlook, and I'm optimistic about it. So we'll see. Bitcoin just broke 109,000. I'll delete this liquidation zone. If I have time later, I'll check as well the next liquidation levels. All right, let's get to the news. We do have a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. Elon Musk is giving credit where credit is due. Kind of, there's still tensions between these guys. Scott Bessent, Donald Trump. No, well, not between them, but like Scott Bessent, Elon Musk, Thomas Massie, Donald Trump, Jerome Powell. Those seem to be the main protagonists, antagonists, main characters of what's been driving the markets these days, right? Why is Justin Trudeau trending? Because I talked about him? Maybe. Trump posted this on Truth Social, saying that his representatives had a long and productive meeting with the Israelis today on Gaza. Israel has agreed to the necessary conditions to finalize the 6-day ceasefire, during which time we will work with all parties to end the war. The Qataris, the Egyptians, who have worked very hard to help bring peace, will deliver this final proposal. I hope, for the good of the Middle East, that Hamas takes this deal, because it will not get better. It will only get worse. So thank you for your attention to this matter. Seems like Trump is offering Hamas a deal that they can't refuse. Otherwise, it's going to get worse, is what he's saying. So they better accept it. Otherwise, it's just going to be bad on them. So ceasefire is coming, and Elon Musk, of course, gives credit where that is due, saying, you know what? He is at least stopping some conflicts. He managed to somehow escalate, somehow de-escalate the situation that was going on with Israel and Iran. He's still working, of course, on Russia, Ukraine. That seems to be taking its time. You know, that deal. There was also the Abraham Accords that he got the Middle East to sign in his previous presidency. Stuff like that. So he's just pointing that out. And this also came out today. Trump signed a trade deal with Vietnam. He posted this on Truth Social, saying, "It is my great honor to announce that I have just made a trade deal with the Socialist Republic of Vietnam after speaking to Lam." Or with To Lam. Okay. That's embarrassing for me. I thought it was talking about To Lam. The guy's name was Lam. Alright, anyway. Didn't he end a war going on in Africa? No. No, there's no wars. There are, I'm sure there's wars in Africa, but that's just, you know, people doing their own thing. But no, it wasn't in Africa. It was in India and Pakistan. That was one you're probably thinking of. And Israel, Iran just recently. You're probably thinking of India, Pakistan. That was also one that I forgot to mention. So yeah, stopping wars in that sense. So he also said that, okay, yeah, To Lam, by the way, the highly respected General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam, will be a great deal of cooperation between our two countries. The terms are, Vietnam will pay the United States a 20% tariff on any and all goods sent into our territory, and a 40% tariff on any trans-shipping, whatever that means. They're shipping trans people. In return, Vietnam will do something that they have never done before. Give the United States of America total access to their markets for trade. 0% trade, I guess is what that means. In other words, they will open their market to the United States, meaning that we will be able to sell our products into Vietnam at a zero tariff. Okay, there you go. It is my opinion that the SUV, or as it is sometimes referred to, large engine vehicle, which does so well in the United States, will be a wonderful addition to the various product lines within Vietnam. Dealing with General Secretary To Lam, which I did personally, was an absolute pleasure. Okay, dealing with him was a pleasure. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Yeah, so this is good, right? I'm pretty sure Vietnam was one of those countries that had like a huge tariff on the United States, something like a 90% tariff. I could be wrong. What was a Liberation Day chart? I want to see if I could find this. Okay, thank you for this minuscule photo. China, Vietnam, 90%. I'm not tripping. They were charging the United States a 90% tariff. And Trump was offering to put a 46% reciprocal tariff on that. Of course, he then caved and put a 90-day pause on the tariffs to reach negotiations. The time is running out since that happened. And now we're getting some deals going on. Next one is likely to be Japan. We'll see what they do. And hey, Trump managed to get Vietnam to drop a 90% tariff down to 0%. And on top of that, it's basically a negative 20 to 40% tariff, because now Vietnam has to still pay the United States a 20% tariff and 40% tariffs on transshipping, whatever that is. Yeah, so good stuff. There was a bit of a negative outlook, though, with Japan, like I said. July 9 is the deadline. He's not thinking about extending it, and he doubts he'll have a deal with Japan, is what he said. We'll see what happens on July 9th. What else happened yesterday? The Jerome Powell speech. Not much was mentioned. He says that the U.S. economy is in a pretty good position. If we ignore tariffs, inflation is behaving as expected and hoped we expect higher readings over the summer, is what Jerome Powell ultimately said. A bit more details say the U.S. economy shows resilience when ignoring tariffs, with consumer spending up 1.4% and core inflation at 2.2% by late 2025, per Deloitte and Vanguard. Who cares about those numbers? Unemployment is stable. Tariffs raise inflation, and they cut GDP growth, costing 770,000 jobs, is what some studies show. But I think the opposite is going to happen, because what those tariffs are going to do is get those companies that are overseas to come into the United States and start producing in here instead. And the more countries that do that, the more investment that comes in, the more jobs that are created, the more their businesses will flourish, the more the economy will flourish. And ultimately, that would be a good thing. It's going to take time, though. And I've mentioned this is not a short-term thing. It's a long-term game plan that Trump is setting out. And the market is seeing it as a short-term. And that's what we saw, all those crazy market crashes earlier this year once those tariffs were initially announced, because people were like, oh, this is just going to make people, charge more for their products and services. And ultimately the consumer is going to be the one that has to pay more, and then inflation will keep on going up. And that's also part of what Jerome Powell was saying, like, okay, these tariffs, they're going to cause inflation to rise. They're going to cause the economy to slow down in growth, the GDP, right? Gross domestic product. So we're not going to cut interest rates, because if we do, it's going to look stupid if we later on have to hike interest rates, increase those to make up for the amount of inflation. But I've showed you guys many studies, and everything points toward that money printer. M2 money supply is going through the roof right now. It's going to happen. Inflation it's good for crypto temporarily, at least for this bull run, is what we need to help us with this 4-year cycle. We need those interest rates coming down to make kind of inflation go smoother, right? It gets the money flowing through the economy, and it'll give us the gains. Bitcoin is the hedge against inflation, right? So there you go. Of course, Trump already commented on this, saying that too late, which is Jerome Powell's nickname, he should resign immediately. And this is what I was talking about with this whole Justin Trudeau got forced out of office by Trump. And Trump is trying to do that same amount of pressure, it seems like, for Jerome Powell, just doing everything to get this guy out of office. The FHFA head, what is FHFA meaning? Yeah, okay, Federal Housing Finance Agency. So these are the guys that approved crypto collateral loans, by the way. They're saying that Fed Chair Powell should be investigated by Congress. And Trump is saying that, hey, this guy should be resigning immediately. Otherwise, he's going to be investigated by Congress, because a lot of people, even Trump included, feel like Powell is playing fast and loose with the American economy and the financial future of millions of Americans, because ultimately affects everyone, right? And it's all because he does not like President Trump, is what is rumored, right? Even though this guy was instated by Trump, they've always been kind of at a conflict. Bad move by Trump by instating Jerome Powell is what he feels. But, there's nothing that the president can do to get this guy out other than to guilt trip him, I guess, into getting out. One man should not have this much control, and the Fed, and that's why it has been trending on Twitter today. It's not anymore. It should be. If I go trending and the Fed. Is it not on anymore, or are you just going to embarrass me live on stream again? P. Diddy's trending. We'll talk about him. Yeah. Cool. Okay. I look like a fool now. But trust me, end to the Fed was trending. And of course, who's going to step in instead of Jerome Powell? Maybe it's Scott Bessent, the current U.S. Treasury Secretary. He says, I'll do what the president wants when it came to, the question of whether he will be the next Federal Reserve chairman. He is pro-crypto, so yeah, it'll be good. Also, on the fact that this is now talking about the one big beautiful bill that's supposed to, cut your taxes and increase the debt ceiling by $5 trillion, which is something that Elon Musk despises. He also commented on what Elon Musk's feedback on this was, saying that he admires Elon Musk's rockets, But ultimately, the Treasury Secretary is the one who should be taking care of finances. So, don't worry about it. Elon is what he's saying. He's saying also the tax bill more than pays for itself. So, yeah. And then it just gets worse because now Donald Trump is hearing all the stuff that Elon Musk has been talking about. I've spoke about this before, but ultimately this is what came out the next day, which was a direct attack on Elon Musk, basically. Trump posted this on Truth Social saying, Elon Musk knew long before he so strongly endorsed me for president that I was strongly against the electrical vehicle mandate. It's ridiculous and was always a major part of my campaign. Electric cars are fine, but not everyone should be forced to own one. Also part Democrat of what they want to do because they want, green, clean energy, climate change. But then it's also the Democrats attacking Tesla ownership, so ironic, but that's a different topic. Elon may get more subsidy than any human being in history by far. And without subsidies, Elon would probably have to close up shop and head back home to South Africa. So now Trump is saying, hey, we're spending too much money by giving this guy government benefits. Maybe we should save our money and deport this Elon Musk feller back to South Africa where he belongs. Now, why would Trump say something like this? That's just, wow, very extreme. After, everything that Elon has done for him, of course, I feel like this was an overreaction. No more rocket launches, satellites, or electric car production, and our country would save a fortune. Perhaps we should have Doge take a good look at this. Big money to be saved. Now he's putting the blame on Elon Musk for being the big spender, instead of diverting the fact that the $5 trillion debt ceiling increase is what's going to cause the deficit. He's now blaming it on Elon Musk, right? Funny. A lot of people, of course, didn't like this. Neither did Tesla. Tesla stock had a drop yesterday, and so did Bitcoin and crypto once again. We saw this initial drop over here. This happened on same story, June 5th. Same deal. Trump and Elon Musk fighting make Bitcoin go down for whatever reason. Same thing happened yesterday, although at a bit of a smaller scale because there wasn't too much. You're on the Epstein list. No, you take drugs. So it was none of that stuff. It was a bit more calm. There's still some accusations being thrown around, but a bit lighter than what was previously alleged, right? So I guess I'll read you this. Trump watches stocks like a hawk, even though he says he doesn't. He's trying to hurt Tesla here on purpose and trying to squeeze Elon and silence him, obviously. This is just a summary of everything. Elon is American. His home is America. Elon Musk is a true patriot who loves America. Yeah, okay. And also just talking about Starlink and SpaceX, how it saves lives. It's true because, in times of crisis where there's power outages or when there's hurricanes and stuff like that, you rely on Elon Musk to give Starlink for free for people in those affected areas, so that they could contact emergency services or their family or whatever. SpaceX, remember that time when that Boeing spacecraft got stuck in space and Biden did nothing to get them back? So Elon Musk launched his own rocket, got those two astronauts out of that broken space station and brought them back to Earth safely. So, those companies do play a major role in American businesses. That's probably the wrong word. In American... I don't want to say politics. It's not politics. Just America in general, I guess. So those comments by Trump was just a direct attack on basically Tesla. I want to pull up the Tesla chart so you guys can see the impact as well. Do I have it here? Probably. Yeah, I do. Yeah, there's the drop. Opening gap, July 1st, bang. And it kept on dropping throughout the day, all the way down to 293 approximately from 306, realistically from 310. That's a pretty significant drop opening the weekend or the weekday like that. 5% drop. But today we've already recovered from all of that, and so has Bitcoin, and Bitcoin even stronger than that. So there you go. Good stuff. And that is also true that the fact that Elon's companies do employ tens of thousands of hardworking Americans, deporting Elon back to South Africa. I mean, you just want him to get killed by the black extremists is what I feel like. The people that are singing "Kill the White Farmer" or whatever. And oh, Elon did reply to this post, by the way, saying, "Lead us not into temptation," and also saying, "I'm literally saying cut it all now." He's basically telling Elon, okay, you know what? Cut all those subsidies. Do it. You won't. He's kind of like defying him, calling his bluff because he knows Trump will probably not do that, right? You're basically shooting yourself in the foot in that case. But the reason why Trump is saying all this stuff is because of, I already read that, is because of this. The fact that Elon Musk does plan to create a new party, first of all. Remember on his first crash out June 5th, right over here, June 5th, he posted this poll saying, guys, Trump is on the Epstein list. Guys, this bill is going to destroy the economy. Guys, should we create a new political party in America that actually represents the 80% in the middle? Because clearly some people disagree with Trump and other people don't. And, I mean, by force of nature or just whatever this phenomenon is, coincidence, 80% of people, for the 80% to the middle, voted yes, and 20% of people voted no. I would assume 10% Democrat, 10% Republican. If that is the case, okay, well, first of all, it is Twitter. This is Elon Musk's platform. Of course, people are going to agree with Elon Musk 80% of the time. That's just going to be a fact. I personally disagree with, creating a party that represents 80% of the people in the middle. What do you mean by that specifically? Like, what exactly would you go for? I'm still not fully convinced or sold on that idea. But this kind of sparked some fear, I guess, in Trump and I guess his future Republican, not his runs, but the future of the Republican Party, the GOP in general, because, Trump is the face of it, and his legacy of whatever happens in the next 4 years, when it comes to re-election time, of course, Trump can't run for office for a third term. Whoever's up next, whether that be J.D. Vance, whether that be Tulsi Gabbard, or who else would even be a good fit? Anyway, that's besides the point. It's going to have an impact on that. And this fight that Elon Musk is having with Donald Trump, some people are siding with Elon, and some people are siding with Trump. And Elon Musk referenced this post once again, the post from June 5th, just yesterday, saying Vox Populi, Vox Dei, which I'm assuming means the voice of the people. What does this even mean? The voice of God. Dei means God. Okay. What's populi? The voice of the people is the voice of a god, is what that means. Okay, whatever. Be special, be quirky, I guess. And who is he going to support? Well, Trump threatened Elon Musk back then, June 5th, saying, hey, if I catch you funding any Democrat stuff, because currently there's only two parties, Democrat or Republican, and of course Elon no longer wants to support the Republicans because of Trump. He's saying, if I catch you supporting any Democrats against me, I guess he threatened to do this exact thing, right? To cut government subsidies or something along the lines of that. I forget what the exact reason was, but he threatened Elon Musk back saying, if you do that and I catch you, you're going to get some big consequences. So what does Elon Musk do? First, he tweets this out, whatever this means. Every member of Congress who campaigned on reducing the government spending and then immediately voted for the biggest debt increase in history should hang their head in shame. And they will lose their primary next year if it is the last thing I do on this earth. Meaning that he's going to fund, I guess, Republicans against Republicans because of this. Please support Representative Thomas Massie. The establishment is working to primary him because he's a genuine fiscal conservative and opposes the big bloated scam. And Elon Musk said, I will. And I'm lucky enough to actually have covered Trump's crash out on Thomas Massie a couple days ago, saying that, oh, get this bum out of office. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't understand the one big beautiful bill. He's one of the few Republicans that opposes it. He's from Kentucky, I think I said, right? I didn't say that, but yeah, he's from Kentucky. And even Trump has said, I'm going to fund the campaign of whoever runs against you in the primaries to make sure that you do not get reelected. And now you got Elon Musk saying, don't worry, Thomas, I'm going to back you and fund your campaign to make sure that you do get reelected. Unless Elon Musk goes ahead and makes somehow a new political party with who's going to be the leader. It can't be Elon Musk. Elon Musk cannot be the president. He's not American born. Maybe Thomas Massie. Maybe he just funds the heck out of Thomas Massie and gets him up. That could be one option if he really wants to do something that represents, quote unquote, the 80% of the people in the middle, and coincidentally 80% of people agree with that. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one. So there you go. Elon Musk has pledged to support Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie against Trump's well-funded primary challenge. There you go. So now you got these two big entities, Trump and Musk, very rich, successful people, funding these pawns, these primaries on, who's going to represent me better in, I'm guessing it's not just going to be in Kentucky, right? It's going to be in every state. So it's going to be a bigger thing than that. And to answer your question, P. Diddy did not go to jail, I don't think. He heard his verdict, and what is the verdict? It dropped. The trial dropped, and it's a mixed bag. He was acquitted on the heavy-hitting charges like racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking, which is a big win for his team. His lawyers were apparently hugging and crying tears of joy in the courtroom. This is a drawing of what happened, so he's crying of happiness here. These guys are smiling, you see. But he's not walking away clean, though. The jury nailed him on 2 lesser counts of interstate prostitution involving transportation of former girlfriends. So while he dodged the worst of it, he's still got some serious legal heat to deal with, not to mention the mountain of lawsuits still coming his way. So it's a wild day in court for sure. So yeah, that's the one W that he got. L for everybody else. We all wanted him going to jail, I guess. I mean, he was in jail, been in jail. He's been with Sam Bankman-Fried, ex-CEO of the fallen FTX. But now he's, still got a lot more that awaits him, I guess, right? And he's facing up to 20 years in prison for those 2 counts. So yeah, he may still face some jail time, nonetheless. All right, that's enough geopolitics. Let's talk crypto news. So, M2 money supply, as I mentioned, it's jumped a 4.5% year over year in May. By the way, guys, this is July. This is the start of a new quarter, a new semester, a new trimester. Half of the year gone by. What have you done in half of this year? Anyway. 19th consecutive monthly increase. That is excessive. It has now surpassed the previous all-time high of 21.86 trillion, which was in March 2022. This just means that the amount of money that exists in the world, it just keeps on going up. What are people going to do with that money? Are they just going to hold stacks of cash? No, they're going to buy equities. They're going to buy houses. They're going to buy stocks. They're going to buy bonds and crypto, ultimately. Since 2020, the U.S. M2 money supply has risen nearly $7 trillion, or roughly 45%. The U.S. dollar's purchasing power is in an eternal bear market. That also means, the U.S. dollar goes down, Bitcoin goes up, right? This should help Bitcoin with its rise over here. And we do know for sure that Bitcoin does trail the M2 money supply by roughly an offset of 3 months, we'll call it. There's a lot of speculation as to exactly how much, but yeah. Today's exactly half of 50 years from 2000 and 2050. So today's exactly 25 years from 2000 and 2050. Yeah, that's true. And after today, we'll be closer to 2050 than 2000. That is also fact. That is also a fact. Well pointed out. Anyways. Yeah, that's all I had to mention about M2 money supply. Here's some news about Grayscale's crypto large cap fund. It got the green light as an ETF and was available for trading today. I covered this a couple days ago. What exactly is coming out? It's an ETF that contains 5 cryptocurrencies that were coincidentally mentioned in that crypto strategic reserve posted by Trump back in April, I think it was, that caused a sudden spark of like 70% in the market in one day, and on a Sunday of all days. It includes Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Cardano. And it's going to be provided by Grayscale, the company we all love and hate. We love because that they actually get these ETFs going out. They're the big pushers for it. But it's bad because, you know, their track record of constant, eternal, never-ending outflows that they have, it seems. You don't got to be a Bitcoin expert to know this, but if you look at Grayscale's chart, this is Grayscale's Bitcoin ETF. You could look it up with the ticker GBTC. In total, ever since its inception, this is in millions, by the way, it's sold $23 billion worth of Bitcoin ever since it was created. Fair enough, they did have a lot when they started off, right? But, like, that is just an excessive amount. On average, every day, they're selling like $63 million on average, right? Ever since its inception. And the maximum amount of inflow was $73 million. Like, come on. Compare this to a company like BlackRock, IBIT, the largest fund manager company, you know, $1 trillion assets under management. They inflowed $52 billion. So they've doubled in positive whatever Grayscale has sold off. So they've been buying it all up. And, you know, it's an average of $142 million inflow every day, which is really good. So BlackRock has been kind of saving us. It's good and it's bad. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, BlackRock is just this huge entity that just keeps on buying Bitcoin and they don't stop. And there's only a set supply. There's only 21 million Bitcoins that will ever exist. Once the last one is mined, it's over. You're done. The problem is BlackRock is going to be in control of a lot of Bitcoin, to the fact that they can manipulate the market in a large extent, although I'm hoping that the market cap would be much larger by the time that they decide to start manipulating. They can start manipulating even now. They just have so much. And when they do that, you know, they'll liquidate longs, they'll liquidate shorts, they'll do whatever they want. It's subject to market manipulation, which people very much dislike. So that's just one thing to pay attention to. That's all I wanted to point out with this Grayscale stuff. Now, cool, it went live today, but it also got paused immediately after. They paused the Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund conversion into an ETF covering Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Cardano, and they're placing it under further review. Well, I guess we're going to have to wait a while longer. So it's not actually out anymore. We got to keep on waiting. The reason why they might have done this is because of this. The Securities Exchange Commission, which is in charge of approving or declining these ETFs, or delaying, as we've seen in most cases, they're exploring a universal listing standard for token-based ETFs to streamline the approval process. Now, that is really good. They're going to just put out this blueprint saying, hey, if you want to launch a crypto ETF of any token, we need you to follow this, and this rule to make sure that you are not a security. And if you approve all of that, send us the application, we'll review it, and the application process should be much faster of getting that approved. The approval process, I should say, should be much faster. And that's probably why we've seen all of these ETFs. We've seen a SUI ETF get delayed, Doge ETF, XRP ETF. Does it even exist? XRP ETF? I don't think it does. Ethereum staking. We already have Solana ETF approved with staking. Waiting for a Litecoin ETF, Cardano ETF. Did I mention Sui ETF? And Polkadot ETF, of the ones that I can remember. That could be coming very soon. There's like now a 95% chance that those will be getting approved consecutively next. I think I saw on CoinMarketCap. I could be wrong. Please be here still, news. Come on. No, it's not here anymore. Cool. I look like a fool once again, live. I'm so good at doing that. Okay. So that's going to be good overall. It's just going to make things go along faster. I know it sucks. I know how long we have been waiting. Everything has just kept on getting delayed. Oh, this ETF would get delayed. It get delayed. It get delayed. And I'm like, when are they going to approve it all? It seems like hopefully soon. Once they finish this universal listing standard, ETFs are going to get approved like that very, very fast. And bring a lot of volume from institutional investors into the crypto market, which will further boost the fact that alt season is just coming soon. I cannot stop saying that. Alt season is coming soon. Gemini announcing that something big is coming tomorrow. They said yesterday and they posted nothing today, so I'm wondering. They're saying that the devs have been cooking. I wonder what's going on. Maybe it's tokenized stocks on Gemini? I don't know yet. We don't know yet. If something gets announced tomorrow, I'll share it, if I remember. All right. Speaking of tokenized stocks, remember I said, you know, you could trade tokenized stocks on Solana now. Also very good thing for Solana, boosting its usability. Deserved pump from over here. A lot of stuff going on with Solana. Really, really good. And it's also still big on the meme coin market, so keep an eye out for that. Robinhood also was having really good time because it got, what was it? It got approved in the European Union for 24/7. No, not 24/7. What did they get approved for? I forgot. What did Robinhood even do? Hood. Don't show me like Hood videos. Please tell me about Robinhood. I guess I have to put dollars Hood so that they know I'm talking about Robinhood stock. Why did Robinhood go up again? I actually forgot. I could probably find it on Trading View. Come on. It's Trading Economics. Trading View. Hood. Give me the news, man. Why did you go up again? Remind me. Why is Robinhood soaring? Okay, it's adding... Okay, 200 US stocks and ETF tokens. What was it? Tokenized stocks. Okay, so it was that. Yeah, they allowed tokenized stocks. That's what it was. Okay, back to my original point, which I don't even know why. Okay, yeah. That's why you were now able to trade... don't make me forget what the companies were. I think it was... Was it Starlink? And OpenAI, which is, you know, parent company of ChatGPT. Those are private companies, and you can't trade those publicly, right? Like on a regulated stock exchange. But now you can do this using that blockchain technology that they acquired over here. Where was it? Also crypto staking. Yeah, we already knew that. They allowed crypto staking for Ethereum and Solana, by the way, if you didn't know. Where was tokenized stocks? Tokenized stocks. Putting them on blockchain with one-to-one backing, which gives you more access, right, to stuff that you probably didn't have before, such as OpenAI tokens. So people were saying, okay, now we can invest in OpenAI, but OpenAI themselves came out and said, warning, these are not equity. We did not partner with Robinhood. We're not involved in this. We don't endorse it. We have nothing to do with, you know, any price movements on whatever Robinhood's tokenized OpenAI stock shows you guys. We did not approve any of this transfer, and any transfer of OpenAI equity requires our approval because it is a private company. So they're just saying, you know, please be careful. Elon Musk, of course, saying your equity is fake. That's pretty funny. But what this basically means is this. It's not really a big deal. They're just putting out the statement because they have to. But all Robinhood did was establish a token that tracks the valuation upon the public's view of the OpenAI on private markets, right? It's similar to literally every other token that they offer. You're not literally buying shares in those companies because you can't. It's a private company, but you're buying and selling based off of speculation, you know, upon the rest of the users that keep on buying. The shares are just certificates, right? So the digital representation of those assets is all that matters. And in the future, more exchanges will get on board with this. Thousands of decentralized exchanges will allow you to buy OpenAI, whether it is private or public. There will be tons of liquidity. The spread on the bid and ask will be significantly narrow, and people will be able to trade it across the world. Robinhood is just one of the first companies to take that step, which is basically factual. And also, yeah, shares are legal ownership over a portion of the company. So that's the only distinction that they're trying to point out, saying, listen, if you buy into whatever Robinhood is telling you, you're not actually buying into OpenAI, so you don't have a say in our company, by the way. That's all they're really saying. And same thing with, I think it was Starlink, like I said. That's all for this. BitGet partners with MasterCard to launch a crypto card. It's going to be a zero-fee crypto card, which allows users to spend their Bitcoin and crypto with over 150 million merchants worldwide. That's good for adoption. The Trump meme coin, you can now use that for payment on the official Trump merchandise stores. You could buy shoes and stuff. I checked it out. It's pretty interesting. And also fragrances, sneakers, and watches. That's what you can get. I still have some Trump tokens. I need them to, I guess I need them to go up in price, right? So before I actually start buying into anything. Because I don't have too much in it. I put like $100 in it. It's half price of that now, so I probably have $50 in there. It's nothing too big, but maybe, who knows, I'll buy some Trump shoes. It'll be pretty funny. I do have to pay for shipping, though, and those shoes cost like $200. I already checked the price, so it's not going to look good. This is also bullish. Michael Saylor and Senator Cynthia Lummis are pushing to end double taxation on Bitcoin miners and stakers, calling it a barrier to U.S. leadership and in crypto. The idea is it's a taxable transaction if you mine Bitcoin or if you stake it, right? You're receiving Bitcoin in that case, which I don't think should be a taxable event either, and neither should these people, of course, and that's where they're pushing to end that. What should be a taxable event is the Bitcoin that you have. If you sell that Bitcoin for cash, for fiat, that should be the taxable event. I will agree, sure, you would pay your capital gains taxes on that, but not for acquiring Bitcoin, whether that be you purchasing it directly, you receiving Bitcoin from a different wallet, you're receiving it from staking, or you're mining Bitcoin. That's just Bitcoin being generated in the supply. Money is being generated in the supply all the time, like actual dollar bills, and we're not paying taxes on that, so it doesn't make sense. So I agree with what they're doing over here, and hopefully they get that passed soon. Otherwise, you're getting taxed twice for receiving that Bitcoin and then taxed when you sell it. Doesn't really make too much sense. This is also, you'll regret this, Hungary. They reject Bitcoin reserves. The central bank confirms it has no intention of adding Bitcoin to its reserves. Have fun staying poor. Connecticut also officially bans the state from creating a Bitcoin reserve or investing in any digital assets. I have a map that actually tracks this stuff. I want to see if I could find that they didn't update it yet. They're saying Connecticut is not proposed for a Bitcoin reserve. That is a lie. According to this, they banned the state from creating a Bitcoin reserve. So why is this in Russian? Get out of here. My ad block is not working. Okay, I'm gonna refresh. If Connecticut got rejected, it should show up red, like North Dakota, Montana, Wyoming, South Dakota, and Pennsylvania, whom all have rejected a Bitcoin strategic reserve, the states that have rejected it. The ones that have approved it is New Hampshire, Texas, and Arizona. Utah's in progress. Mexico's been proposed. The ones that are in blue are where they have been proposed. I'm surprised that none of this is shown here in Connecticut. Is this outdated? I'm guessing not, because that is the current price of Bitcoin. 108,700. So it is legit. 900, sure. Alright, so no further updates from there, I guess. I also did cover this as well. The IRS can now use... what is it, Coinbase? It's usually Coinbase, but I'm assuming it's now becoming any regulated exchange that has KYC. If you're not paying your capital gains taxes on your crypto, you know, speaking of taxes and governments, apparently the IRS can figure out who you are and send warning letters that your tax filings may be off. CoinLedger CEO said, naturally, we got a flood of customers asking, hey, what do I do? All right. And also this is true, like, crypto's supposed to be this decentralized thing that the government's not supposed to know about. Well, with these centralized exchanges, that doesn't matter. You put your KYC information in, they know who you are, they know that you make money with crypto, they'll charge you. That's why whenever somebody asks me, or, you know, you see these posts on Twitter saying, how much Bitcoin do you own? Oh, how much money have you made? Stuff like that. You just got to say, nice try, feds, and walk away from that conversation. Don't reply to that stuff. I know I literally just told John what I made today. Hey, but I lost money today. Everybody knows I already invest. It's whatever. It's, you know. Microsoft is laying off 9,000 Americans while simultaneously seeking approval for 14,000 new H-1B visa hires in 2025. They want cheap labor. What is Microsoft doing? This is against... I don't even know. I don't know what to think about this. But, okay. Laying off people. That should be good for an investor if you're investing into Microsoft. Do we have any reflection on the price of this? When was this posted? This is posted after market hours. Microsoft. Let me look at their stock. No movement yet. It probably hasn't had an effect on the price. We have to wait for post-market or pre-market hours. See what happens tomorrow. But it should be a good thing, right? That means that Microsoft shareholders would see their stock price rise because Microsoft themselves have to pay 9,000 less people, right? They don't have to spend as much, and that money ultimately goes into the value of their company, right? Their market cap, if you want to put it that way. But then they're also trying to hire 14,000 new H-1B visa hires. I don't know really much about that. We shall see. Anyway, last bit of news. Close this. YouTube is cracking down on unoriginal content with major monetization change. Starting July 15, which is in 13 days, channels that do not meaningfully transform clips risk losing monetization. So that goes for reaction channels and compilation pages and more. I don't got to worry about that. I'm not monetized yet. I would like to be monetized. That would be pretty neat. But yeah, reaction channels, as long as it's, they got to make it more transformative, right? That's all it really means. You're not going to get, you know, Sniper Wolf type content anymore. Hopefully not. I don't know. If you guys even know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's all done for today. I overstayed my welcome. So I'm going to end the stream here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm tired. I will be back tomorrow. And we're going to talk about non-farm payroll data and unemployment rate. Let's hope that these align with our expectations and align with our views of potentially 3 rate cuts for this year, which market still has that priced in, although the ISM, never mind, I don't know what I'm talking about. The aggregated data that we show, percentages are kind of shifting around a little bit, right? Still looking at 1, 2, 3 rate cuts for this year. 60-40% in December, 79% October, 84% September. Nothing for the meeting of July, which would really anger Trump. Trump is obviously going to keep pressuring Powell. That's to be expected. All right, that'll be all then. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.